are you all today? Jamie and Sharon, Nancy, Rochelle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Lovely morning here in Bali. And I'm noticing I'm getting to relax and release right now. Oops. There we go. Welcome, Christine. Christine, is it your morning as well, or you're wishing me morning in my time zone? We're just going to give a few minutes for everybody to join in. And I'm holding my breath about the internet. Hi, Blossom Violet. 10 a.m. in Sydney. Really? Oh, I thought you were further ahead than Bali. You're only 2 hours. Cool. Oh, you do the daylight savings, we call it in America. Hi, Angela. It's been a little while. You've been on my mind, so I'm glad to see you. So, welcome, 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 everybody. We are studying this book today, continuing this book study. We're getting close to the end here. We've got this much left in book 1. So excited to continue that. I hear you, Angela. Can anyone else relate to isolating? J.E., nice. What area of the continent are you on? I forgot if you ever told me. Hi, April. It's been a little while. Nice to see you. Oh, Canada. So wherever you are in Canada, it is definitely last of the summer days. If you're in the US, that could vary. Hi, Jennifer. Your profile pic looks like Van Gogh. I mean, I can only see it small, but that's what it reminds me of. How are you doing, April? I know you've just had another, or I mean, not another, quite a big life transition with your job. Great. Ooh, Sharon in Florida. I used to live in Orlando. One of my life coaches lives in Naples. My grandma lived in Tampa area. Oh, you colored that, Jennifer? I'm going to have to click on it and see it bigger. Spring is here in Australia. in the southern hemisphere. Bali is in the southern hemisphere as well, so, but we don't have spring. We don't have winter. But we are right south of the equator, which is cool, like 5 degrees south, I think. I never thought I would live on the equator. So here we have dry season and wet season. So, is anybody new to me or new to the topic? Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. We're going to continue our book study here momentarily. Or if anybody's new to me, I'm Natalie, spiritual life coach and Reiki master teacher and intuitive. Hi, Gary. Yeah, so rainy season is from November, December to May, April. And then, so right now we're in the blissful dry season. It's like winter here. Yeah, it depends on where you are. But yeah, that's it. That's the rainy season. Hi, Whitney. Amazing. If you care to contribute in any way to the discussion, that would be welcome and, of course, not expected. So the way this format works is I will read and then I will stop reading and then we'll discuss when I feel like it, basically. Yeah, sometimes I'll reread passages. Sometimes we go fast, sometimes slow. So please give me a follow here on Insight Timer. Give a donation if you would like. If all goes well with this live stream, the recording will be up on my YouTube channel. Follow me there, Facebook and Instagram. Check my website and reach out. If you've never had a session with me of any kind, I'm happy to offer you a complimentary gifted life coaching session. If there's a place in your life you feel stuck, feel directionless, feeling like you have a lack of clarity or direction, or maybe like what's next, or maybe you know where you want to go, you know what you want to do, but there's been blockages or procrastination, feel free to reach out. We can have a coaching conversation about that can help you shift out of that. I also offer as well, for anyone that's the first time with me, my Powerful Truth Excavation Guided Journey, which is a deep dive exploration into your inner truth that your soul is ready to reveal. So if you've never had a session with me, I offer that complimentary as well to my Insight Timer family. Hi, Tawana. So give my meditations a listen on here. If you do that here on Insight Timer, I've got some free and premium tracks. My newest one is Take Your Power Back from Them, Shamanic Healing. So if that title resonates, Take Your Power Back from Them, then that's for you. I also have a Reiki Bliss Sleep Talk Down meditation. I have Ancestral Clearing prayers that are very powerful, both in my free and premium tracks. Yeah, so you can also join in about exactly 24 hours from now. We'll be doing Saturday Night Live. I'll be drawing cards. We'll be having even more fun than we're having now. So join in for that. Yeah. Join the cows and the chickens, the butterflies, the birds, the jungle, the nature. And speaking of Bali, my fellow Insight Timer teacher Alicia Bliss and I just announced our Bali Bliss retreat next summer here in Bali. We're so excited. And I know we'll see some of you there. So if you've wanted to come to Bali, needed a reason, or not known, wanted to know somebody here and want to come, send me a private message. I can share with you, the first steps if you are interested in coming to Bali next year during the dry season. It's going to be amazing. Alicia's been a yoga teacher for 20 years. She is more on the, she's a naturopath, an herbalist, yoga teacher, pranayama, and I do what I do. So together we're going to craft an amazing experience. So I'm an expert in Bali, so we'll definitely include experience of Bali, as well as the spiritual side, the relaxation side, the self-love, the healing, the rejuvenation, all of that. So send me a message if you want me to add you to the wait list so that, we're in the early stages of planning the dates and the duration, the cost, the offerings. So we've already got a lot of interest. So if you are interested, send me your email, send me your name, so that I can add you to that list and keep you posted. All right, so does anybody not know this book, Conversations with God? Going once, going twice. Okay, so we've got, many of you are returning. Great. April's heard of it. Many, if you've been in the spiritual life for any length of time, you've likely heard about this book. So it doesn't matter, where you're joining in right now. This is for you. So just trust you're hearing exactly what you're meant to hear today. It's not a book that you have to read it from page 1 or you miss something or something like that. There's nuggets all along the way. So just trust that you're going to hear exactly what you need to. So we'll go ahead and jump in. If you do have the hardback or whatever version and you're following along, we're page 166. Okay. I do want to back up a bit. So if you were here last time, or if you've been following, what we're reading about now is about money and abundance. So who here would like to have a shift in their mindset or get some new ideas or perspectives or tools or ways to think about wealth, money, finances, abundance? Yeah, me too. So this chapter is all about that. Hi, Monica. Okay. So I'm just going to summarize briefly just what to bring everybody up to speed. So the author opens the chapter saying, like, why can't I ever feel like I have enough money? I've struggled my whole life financially. And it's a conversation with God. So he's asking God. And God is saying that, you need to change your thinking around it. You think money is the root of all evil, but yet you want money, so there's all these conflicting thoughts and ideas. So God is saying that, and God being whatever that means to you, it says there's only one way to change all of these conflicting ideas and energies and beliefs about money, is you have to change your thought about it, which is nothing new. We've all heard this a million times, right? So I'm going to actually jump in on 163 at the bottom, because this really bears reviewing. This is everything. So it's a conversation between God and the author. So we're starting with Neale Donald Walsch is asking God, how can I change the way I think? The way I think about something is the way I think about something. My thoughts, my attitudes, my ideas were not created in a minute. I have to guess they're a result of years of experience, a lifetime of encounters. You're right about the way I think about money, but how do I change that? And God says, this could be the most interesting question in the book. So that's really interesting, powerful to pause on. God is saying that could be the most interesting question in this entire book is, how do I change the way I think? We all know thoughts create our reality. Thoughts are creative. So the usual method of creation for most human beings is a 3-step process involving thought, word, and deed or action. This is the usual process. First comes thought, the formative idea, the initial concept. Then comes the word. Most thoughts ultimately form themselves into words, which are often then written or spoken. This gives added energy to the thought, pushing it out into the world where it can be noticed by others. Finally, in some cases, words are put into action, and you have what you call a result, a physical world manifestation of what all started with a thought. Everything around you in your man-made world came into being in this way, or some variation of it. All 3 creation centers were used. So thought, word, and deed. And I said this last time, and I've said this before, because I love this idea that if you just even look around the room right now or wherever you are, everything you're seeing is a result of thought. Everything started with an idea. From this book to the device you're seeing me on, to, my glasses, like this, thing that I'm wearing, the ring, the table, like every single thing, the house I'm in, started with a thought. It's really powerful to orient yourself into that reality. So now comes the question, how to change a sponsoring thought. So sponsoring thought is written in capitals. So now they're introducing this idea, this new idea of something called a sponsoring thought. Okay? So how to change that? Yes, that's a very good question and a very important one. For if humans do not change some of their sponsoring thoughts, humankind could doom itself to extinction. The most rapid way to change a root thought or sponsoring idea is to reverse the thought, word, deed process. So, the question was, how do I change the way I think? Then it was outlined how do thoughts create reality, thought, word, and deed. So the most rapid way to change that root thought or sponsoring thought, where it all starts, is to reverse the thought, word, deed process. Do the deed that you want to have the new thought about. Do the deed that you want to have the new thought about. Then say the words that you want to have your new thought about. Do this often enough and you'll train the mind to think a new way. So first you want to do the deed that you want to have the new thought about, then say the words you want to have the new thought about, and then that will eventually, if you do this often enough, you'll train your mind to think in a new way. Train the mind, isn't that like mind control? Isn't that just mental manipulation? God says, do you have any idea how your mind came up with the thoughts it now has? Do you not know that your world has manipulated your mind to think as you do? Wouldn't it be better for you to manipulate your mind than for the world to? Would you not be better off to think the thoughts you want to think than those of others? Are you not better armed with creative thoughts than with reactive thoughts? So God's saying, your mind is already full of thoughts that didn't come from you. So wouldn't you rather train your own mind to think the way you want it to think? Yet your mind is filled with reactive thought that springs from the experience of others. Very few of your thoughts spring from self-produced data, much less self-produced preferences. Your own root thought about money is a prime example. Your thought about money, it is bad, runs directly counter to your experience. It's great to have money. So you have to run around and lie to yourself about your experience in order to justify your root thought. You're so rooted in this thought, it never occurs to you that your idea about money may be inaccurate. So now what we are up to is coming up with some self-produced data, and that is how we change a root thought and cause it to be your root thought, not another's. You have one more root thought about money, by the way, which I've yet to mention, that there's not enough. In fact, you have this root thought about just about everything. There's not enough money, there's not enough time, there's not enough love, not enough food, water, compassion in the world. Whatever there is that's good, there's just not enough. This race consciousness of not enoughness creates and recreates the world as you see it. Okay, so I have 2 root thoughts, sponsoring thoughts to change about money. Oh, at least 2, probably many more. Let's see. Money is bad. Money is scarce. Money may not be received for doing God's work. That's a big one with you. Money is never freely given. Money doesn't grow on trees when in fact it does. Money corrupts. I see I've got a lot of work to do. Yes, you do, if you're not happy with your present money situation. On the other hand, it's important to understand that you're unhappy with your present money situation because you're unhappy with your present money situation. Sometimes you're hard to follow. Sometimes you're hard to lead. Say, listen, you're the God here. Why don't you just make it easy to understand? I have made it easy to understand. Then why don't you just cause me to understand if that's what you truly want? God says, I truly want what you want, nothing different and nothing more. Don't you see that that is my greatest gift to you? If I wanted for you something other than what you want for you, and then went so far as to cause you to have it, where is your free choice? How can you be a creative being if I am dictating what you shall be, do, and have? My joy is in your freedom, not your compliance. So that's a really important point. The author is saying, well, if you want me to understand this about changing my thoughts about money, just do it for me. And God's saying, I can't do it for you because you have free will, basically. God wants what you want. And if you want to stay stuck, then that's what God wants for you. If you want to change, that's what God wants for you. My joy is in your freedom, not your compliance. Okay, what did you mean I'm unhappy with my money situation because I'm unhappy with my money situation? You are what you think you are. It's a vicious circle when the thought is a negative one. You've got to find a way to break out of the circle. So much of your present experience is based on your previous thought. Thought leads to experience, which leads to thought, which leads to experience. This can produce constant joy when the sponsoring thought is joyous. It can and does produce continual hell when the sponsoring thought is hellacious. The trick is to change sponsoring thought. I was about to illustrate how to do that. The first thing to do is reverse the thought, word, deed paradigm. Do you remember the old adage, think before you act? Well, forget it. If you want to change a root thought, you have to act before you think. So I'm going to pause and ask, is everybody following? Is everybody keeping up so far? So thought, word, deed is normal or whatever, the way it usually happens. Now he's saying, or whatever, God, it is saying reduce it. Action, words will change the thoughts. Hi, Laura. Because we get in a cycle with our thoughts that then create the same reality. So don't think before you act. If you want to change a root thought, act before you think. So listen to this example really carefully. Put on your deep listening ears, because this is a really powerful example. And then I'm going to share about it. Example. You're walking down the street and come across an old lady begging for quarters. You realize she's a bag lady and is living day to day. You instantly know that as little money as you surely have enough to share with her. Your first impulse is to give her some change. There's even a part of you that's ready to reach in your pocket for a little folding money, a 1 or even a 5. What the heck, make it a grand moment for her, light her up. Then the thought comes in. What, are you crazy? We've only got $7 to get us through the day. You want to give her a 5? So you start fumbling around for that 1. Thought again. Hey, come on. You don't have that many of these that you can just give them away. Give her some coins for heaven's sake and let's get out of here. Quickly, you reach into the other pocket to try to come up with some quarters. Your fingers feel only nickels and dimes. You're embarrassed. Here you are, fully clothed, fully fed, and you're going to nickel and dime this poor woman who has nothing. You try in vain to find a quarter or two. Oh, there's one deep in the fold of your pocket. But by now you've walked past her smiling wanly, and it's too late to go back. She gets nothing. You get nothing either. Instead of the joy of knowing your abundance and sharing, you now feel as poor as the woman. Why didn't you just give her the paper money? It was your first impulse, but your thought got in the way. Next time, decide to act before you think. Give the money, go ahead. You've got it, and there's more where that came from. That's the only thought which separates you from the bag lady. You're clear there's more where that came from, and she doesn't know that. When you want to change a root thought, act in accordance with the new idea you have, but you must act quickly or your mind will kill the idea before you know it. I mean that literally. The idea, the new truth, will be dead in you before you've had a chance to know it. So act quickly when the opportunity arises. And if you do this often enough, your mind will soon get the idea. It will be your new thought. Can anyone relate to that story? Tawana's had those kinds of thoughts. Jamie, empty mind. That's a good question. I think to be aware of all of this, there needs to be, a place of witness and observer in which you can observe the thoughts. I wouldn't say it's about trying to clear the mind or create an empty mind. I think it's about, this example is perfect, having this awareness of having these thoughts as you go down the street, walking by the beggar. Hi, Sophia. So that story really, or that example really hit home for me the first time or times that I've heard it or read it. So that now, seriously, every time I go by somebody or whatever, like walk by, or there's some opportunity, I notice this. And I notice that first impulse. So this is your invitation, if you can relate to anything that's been said today. That it's your invitation to notice, what's that first thought? And to actually give whatever that is. And then the other part of it is, because I've done this enough to where I would do what the example is of, like, then I talk myself out of it, and then I was gone and I wasn't going to turn back around, and then I feel like shit, and then I beat myself up. It's like, it's fine if I don't do it also. Like, it's not this pass or fail exercise of, if I notice an opportunity, and then my mind talks me out of it, that I failed, that I'm bad, I didn't pass a test. No. So then comes the compassion, the flexibility, that, like, it's okay, at least I noticed. Hi, Britt. Hi, Jessica. Oh, interesting, Jamie. What a great example here. So, I wonder what would you say, is there an opportunity there for you to do something about that? Or will you just, next time, if you see the scarf or whatever and may not even know why you want to buy it or who it's for, that you follow that impulse? Yeah, or you could take a bus. Yeah. Could it even be you go get the scarf next time you're around there, knowing that it's for somebody, and it may be the same person or it may be somebody else? That could be an idea. So, I have quite a number of stories about this dynamic, this sort of a thing. One that comes to mind that I haven't thought about or shared about. This was like 7 or 8 years ago. I was in the US. I was living there for a little bit. And for some reason, I had a $100 bill in my pocket. Like, I'm not one that carries cash nor $100 bills, but yeah, anyway, I think I know why I had it. It's not important why I had it, but I had it. And I was in this life transformational training in this 3-month leadership program. And part of that was we had to volunteer, just wherever. And so I was volunteering at this place, just like answering phones. It was some sort of support place for, homeless people or people that, didn't have a lot. And this man came in, and I can't even remember what he said. All I remember is there was $100 bill in my pocket, and I got this impulse to give it to him. And this is before I had read this book, or maybe I'd read it, but this story it wasn't because of this story that made me do it. It just was, I was in a high energy. I was, whatever, in a high vibration. And, I got this impulse that just was like, give that man this $100 bill. And I had never done anything like that. And I did it. And I was so glad that I followed that impulse. Of course, he was thankful. And so now, I have a fun relationship with giving in that way. And sometimes I don't. And sometimes now that I'm very aware of this dynamic of like, feeling the urge. And it could be in other ways. It could, it doesn't have to be with like giving somebody money on the street or something. But I definitely always notice it now. And this story will come to mind. If like I notice, I want to give, but then the thought is, you can't afford it or whatever, or that's too much. I walk a lot, like for exercise, and y'all that know me know, I live in Asia right now, and I mean, it doesn't even matter where, but I have a lot of fun experiences where I'll find money, as I'm walking. And I found different amounts, not like $100 bill, but I've found different amounts of money. And whenever I find it, I'm always like, I get to give this away. And usually what I'll do, because I walk like on the beach or just wherever I'm walking, there's usually like kids around. So even the other day, I found this coin here. It's probably worth a penny in dollars, but whatever. I found this Indonesian rupiah coin. And I was like, I'm going to find a kid to give this to. And sure enough, a few minutes later, there was this cute little mullet boy. Mullets are a thing. He was like 5. And he was kind of playing his lone. His parents were a bit away. He was Indonesian, and I gave him the coin, and he was so happy. So, and like it could go the other way. Like my mind was like, when I saw the coin, like, that's worthless. Like it's like picking a penny up off the ground. So, but because I've already done some rewiring, changing the sponsoring thought, I had a new thought. In the past, I would have definitely been like, it's not worth picking that up. So, all right. So this is the end of the chapter. So it talked about the sponsoring thought. So act quickly when the opportunity arises, and if you do this often enough, your mind will soon get the idea and it will be your new thought. I just got something. Is that what's meant by the new thought movement? If not, it should be. New thought is your only chance. It's your only real opportunity to evolve, to grow, to truly become who you really are. Your mind is right now filled with old thoughts. Not only old thoughts, but mostly someone else's old thoughts. It's important now, it's time now to change your mind about some things. This is what evolution is all about. So we've all heard of like subconscious programming and limiting beliefs. It's programming. These are programs. We were not born with these thoughts. They were programmed into us in childhood, before our ego was formed, before 8 years old. Whatever we heard people around us talking about and the way they talked about things were the beliefs that then we were programmed with. So literally, most all the thoughts we have are not even our own. They're someone else's old thoughts. So the evolution for us individually and as a whole is to change these thoughts and to reprogram our minds. And this is what this is talking about. Yeah. So that's the end of that chapter. Was that helpful? Did that give anyone any new ways to think about things? Or maybe a different way to think about the same thing? So we'll just pause for a minute, and if you've joined in, thank you for joining. I'm Natalie, spiritual life coach and Reiki master teacher. Give me a follow here. And we're studying Conversations with God. Jamie, I would clarify your statement. I agree. And also I would say, especially if you're in a high vibration and especially if you're in a low vibration. So say you're in a lower vibration and you walk by the lady begging, you know, I think there would still be like a inkling of a thought to like give the greater amount. But I feel like that impulse would be smaller and more immediately crowded out with, the old thinking. But it would still be there. And actually, that would be the thing to bring you out of the low vibration. Yeah. I've told this story many times and I want to tell it again. So if you have heard it, listen as if it's your first time. So, I teach about money mindset. I finished a money mindset group coaching program a month or so ago now. It was amazing. In the past year, I've really dove into that for myself and my clients. And there's a book called How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever by Victor Bach that I've used. And he has this process in the book called glad giving, which means it's like breaking our addiction to money, because we really have an addiction to money, if we are in not enoughness. And one way we can break that is by giving some of everything that we receive. And he says like 1% to 5%. And it's not a tithe, like you can do whatever you want and give wherever you want, however you want with it. But yeah, this is a practice that I've been doing now over a year. And last year I got an unexpected large sum of money, which was amazing. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to, gift a portion of this. And I just happened to be in this cafe. It was like one of the biggest holidays here in Bali for the Balinese Hindu people. and most everybody was off. Like it's kind of like Christmas as far as like everything's closed, or many things are closed. Kind of like when you go on Christmas Day, like wherever in a place is open, and you like are like, oh my God, the workers have to work today. Like that sucks. So it was that, like, but here. And so I was in this cafe that I was a regular at, so I knew them all and they knew me. So anyway, I had this money in my pocket, and just this impulse came, this idea came. I don't even know, maybe I was reading the book, or maybe it just came out of nowhere. But I had this idea of like, ooh, I'm going to give everyone in the staff here a tip for them like coming in today. And it basically was like a day's pay for them. So, you know, I'm American, so you could think of it being like $100, or, you know, in their own currency, or like the value to them, right? Like a day's pay or more, depending on how much you make. So it was just such a experience I'll never forget, because it would have been, and this story came into my head, it would have been very easy for me to discount it away or ignore it or say that's ridiculous, or say, like, part of it was, oh, but your ego is getting a hit off this because you're giving the money, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't listen to any of that, because I knew that that was the sponsoring thought. You know, take the action you want to have the new thought about, which was, ooh, it felt so fun. I felt, you know, like Oprah. I mean, sort of, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, on her show, and she would be like, everybody look under your seats. You have keys to a new car, or whatever, right? Like, that's how I want to be in the world. So I get to be that in my own way with what I have at this time. And that's what I did. Yeah. So that's definitely, like, those are things that I would not have done. It wouldn't even occur to me. So this is a great example of this in action and working for me. Yeah. Another way where that's like not money related, where I do this, it's like following your impulse. You know, following your intuition, your impulse, your higher guidance, your inner being, as Abraham Hicks would say. Like that first fun, light impulse, like Jamie gave the great example about, ooh, there was a beautiful scarf. And Jamie, I'm fairly confident now, next time, because it'll happen again, next time you have that dynamic, whatever it may be a scarf, it may be whatever, money in your pocket, or it could be anything, right? You're going to think about this, and you're going to think about that example, and you're going to do the thing, and yeah. So I do this when I think about, like, who do I want to reach out to? Because I like to connect with people, you know, I'm do my best to live in service. And so if somebody crosses my mind, like the old me would be like, oh, well, you know, don't reach out to them, or you haven't talked to them in this amount of time, like, blah, blah, maybe they'll think something, blah, blah, blah. I don't listen to that anymore. I take the action anyway. I follow that first impulse, even though, like, the old thoughts come in. But now I've done it so many times, like, I'll notice that, and then I'll just say, screw it anyway, and I'm just, whatever, I'm going to reach out. Yeah, sneezy. Thank you, Jamie, for the donation. So that's, yeah, another thing, like giving a donation somewhere, or even like putting money in a tip box, or just, yeah. For me, I really see this with, giving money in different ways. But again, it could be somebody crosses your mind, follow that impulse, reach out. Another good example of this, which turned out whatever, but I was dog sitting in Mexico years ago, um, and the woman came back, whatever, but I was still living in that town. And one night I went to a restaurant right next door to her house, and I had this very strong thought, like, oh, you should go see her and say hi to the dog. And I got a very strong impulse to do it. And then I talked myself out of it. Oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to do it. I don't want to drop by. And then the next day, like literally probably 12 hours later, the dog died. And she emailed me and she's like, my dog is dead. He ate poison chicken, blah, blah, blah. And I just was like, oh my God. Like, I got this huge impulse and I didn't follow it. And it's not that I'm wrong for it and I failed, but it's just interesting. So, yeah, I mean, if somebody crosses your mind or something, follow that. Wow, Nancy. Wow, that's amazing. I love that you followed that impulse. That's a great, great example, because those impulses might be prompts of like somebody praying, and that we are the answer to their prayer. Hi, Mark. So that's why when I invite, like here, if I bring up like, hey, if you want to have a session, reach out, I say like, follow your heart's call. And I've had so many people reach out that have become coaching clients or worked with me with other, Reiki or clearing or having sessions with me of some kind, that they followed that impulse and reached out. And then it changed their life because they, created amazing things in our work together. So whatever that is for you, in whatever area, wherever you're thinking about, I mean, maybe somebody's coming to your mind right now. So we will start, bookmark for next time. We will start chapter 12, I think it is. Yeah. Let's see. And so, just to give you a teaser for next time, the chapter opens, why can't I do what I really want to do with my life and still make a living? Ooh, doesn't that sound juicy? Who all here feels unfulfilled in their work? Yeah. Why can't I do what I really want to do with my life and still make a living? So come back next time and we'll start there. So don't forget to follow me here. Give a donation if you feel that prompting. It's time to wrap up, Tawana. So stay tuned for more. Thank you for the donation, Sharon. And reach out if you want to take advantage of my complimentary gift for anybody that's never had a session with me, of a coaching session. or a truth excavation guided journey. Or maybe you have worked with me or had a session and you feel a heart's call to work together more, or again, whatever it may be. Or maybe it's with somebody else. It doesn't matter. Follow that impulse. And next time, it'll happen very soon, and I want to hear about it next week. Sometime in this next week, this is going to come up for you. Either as far as like a money thing, you know, a beggar, blah, 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 or maybe it'll be a tip jar and you never usually do that, or maybe it's a waiter, then you give them extra, I mean, whatever. Or maybe like Nancy's wonderful example about prayer, you know, just giving money to a startup that was with a family member. Thank you for the donations. I love everybody's following their impulses. Nancy, Jennifer, Sharon, Tawana, April. And come back in 23 hours for Saturday Night Live. And we'll do cards, we'll do Reiki, we'll do Ancestral Clearing. And if you want to revisit this one, it will be up on my replays on my YouTube channel. Follow me there, Facebook and Instagram as well. And I will see you all next time, very, very soon. Thank you. Woo, Tawana. Much love to all of you. Bye-bye.